Every rod feels exactly the fucking same. It doesn't matter.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Deep Drop for another episode. This is a fishing podcast if you hadn't yet discovered it. And thank you for being here if you're new. If you're an existing customer, so to speak, welcome back. Great to have you back on board. My name's Luke McCredden. Adam Ring is with me as always, and Adam, you know, regular listeners will understand that I get really tongue-tied when I try and, I guess, off the top, put a bit of a spin on what the Deep Drop's all about. And if there's only one reason you're here, Ads, it's this. So can you please explain what the Deep Drop is?
The easiest way to explain the Deep Drop is that we are just about 60 episodes in, and at the start of every episode, we're still trying to tell you what the Deep Drop is, and that kind of exactly sums up what it is. We will discuss everything from which fishing clothing is shit, as in it looks shit, through to is karate chopping certain species to dispatch them okay or not, through to genuine tips and tricks on some of the latest gear, knots, rods, reels, whatever you can think. We'll maybe touch on that too. We might come up with some of the greatest events that have never been held, like Carpathon. We've discussed fishing in the Olympics. So basically, it is just a fishing podcast about all things randomly fishing, and I can't get enough of it, Luke. This is my favourite part of the week when I sit down with you, yes. We hit record, and we just talk flat-out rubbish about fishing.
You know the best part of it, and thank you for that, by the way, that was a great summary. The best part of it for me is, yes, getting to sit here and talk about this stuff with you, but it's the feedback and you know, interaction we get across social media, or, you know, when we run into people in the tackle stores and whatever, or when we do a live show, Ads. We got to head down the Melbourne Boat Show recently, which was loads of fun. But I think that's the part that I'll get a kick out of. Throughout the week, you'll get a message come through, and we get lots of messages on Instagram. So thank you for that, by the way. But there's also plenty of opportunity to drop a comment on some of the posts. And I think this is why we do it. It's not... We're not trying to teach anyone anything here. In fact, we're trying to learn.
That's right. We're prompting you to give us the answers so that we can learn something too. It's the ever-evolving art form that is fishing, and we're here to discuss it, not tell you what to do.
But it's interesting because we've both collectively been involved in the fishing industry, tackle industry, all levels of, I suppose, of the recreational fishing industry here. And so it's really cool because we kind of have a bit of a view on where we see things, and we do get a bit of an insight into some behind the scenes type stuff. But then you hear some things from you guys out there listening, and you go, yeah, that makes way more sense than what I was thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
So thank you. In fact, you know what? What I'd love to do is actually kick off this episode, Adam, and just go through a couple of, I suppose, a bit of feedback we've had. I won't go too far back, but the last couple of episodes we've had some... let's say some talking point topics that have popped up on the Deep Drop. So would you mind if I just go through a couple and just...
Oh, let's go. Look, I'm ashamed to say I'm not across this part of our podcast. I'm sure you are. So I'm going to hear some of these for the first time. So you're going to get an on-the-spot reaction from me on what's going on.
Well, that's good. That's real. So let's just start, because a few episodes ago we spoke about, and you mentioned it off the top, I think the question was, what do you think of the squid karate chop? Because I think we spoke about the optics of where we've seen lots of videos at the moment. People are going, this is how you kill a squid, whacking it with their hands. Don't get me wrong, it works.
It works.
We understand that. But, you know, have we had enough? Some of the feedback was, yes, we've had enough. I hate doing that. Just put them in an ice slurry instead. The boys at Wind Against Tide said I like to headbutt them personally.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's different, but I'll add it to the list.
Yeah. We saw Ebb Tide Andy shared a great video, which we put in our stories at the time, of a video of a guy trying to do it on a rock ledge and hit his hand on the rock, and the next scene was the X-ray of his broken finger. So
yeah, that's a good one.
that. We had Chasing Fish Oz said, feels like it's overrated, just gets views on socials. Well, It's not a bad point. People are trying to do a bit of an informational topic.
Yeah.
But just do it and put it in the esky, you know? There was some commentary around other tools that people use to knock their fish on the head. I won't go right into that, but we appreciate it anyway. And then Ducky's Fishing said, if it's efficient, humane, and doesn't damage the meat, I'm all for it over the alternative, karate chop for the squid. That was the post I referenced last week when we had a question about trying to find the Deep Drop playlist on Spotify, the Deep Drop fishing tunes. So
fishing tunes, yeah, which is due for an update, by the way. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, lots of feedback there, lots of messages as well. But I think there was a fair consensus there of people going, yeah, I've had enough of seeing the karate chop on social media. Use it by all accounts, but put the camera down.
Oh, well, it's okay. So the karate chop's officially had its day. So one problem solved. Thank you, listeners.
Thank you, listeners.
Unanimous decision, I'd say.
Now, last week,
and to the boys that win against Tide, don't believe your headbutt until I see it. So flip through a video. That'd be fantastic.
Vids to prove it. Thank you very much, Dave and Joey. Now, last week we asked about the loyalty of brands when it comes to rods and reels. Adam, you were pretty strong and firm on not mixing and matching where you could help it. So, but what I mean by that is not having a Shimano reel and a Daiwa rod, for example.
Yep.
So, how loyal are you to brands for rods and reels was the question on Instagram. John the Jigman, been using Daiwa forever, and Murasami rods are my choice of rods. So there's a bit of a mix and match there, but don't mind it.
But that was one of the ones that we discussed and said that's probably perfect scenario. Murasami making a beautiful fishing rod, but don't manufacture a reel to match. Yep. That's the best case scenario.
Great
Find
case.
a rod or a reel you like that's standalone, match it up with whatever you want.
I'm not sure how you'll feel about this, Adam. Purple Patch Fishing, my favourite outfit was a CI4 on a TD Black.
Oh,
I'm assuming that's a reference to a Stradic, but you've got that's a Shimano on Daiwa situation.
Yeah, we'll chat about that later.
Hey, individually great products, by the way. But
we might have to get her on actually so that she can explain herself, I think.
Okay. Mumbo Jumbo Fishing. Love the pen gear and run heaps of it because it never lets me down. That said, also own Shimano, Abu, 13, Ocean's Legacy, Fluger, Orva, Sims, Finnor and Daiwa. Yep. Southern Surfcaster said, I've always been a loyal Shimano man when I can be. However, in my opinion, nothing interesting has come out from them for a while, so the new Saltiga are looking fire. So there you go.
So nice. Okay. That's I like it. Open-mindedness, Luke. This is what you and I both kind of alluded to. We may be a little bit close-minded when it comes to this at times.
Potentially. And look, just to round it out, and I like this one because I feel like you'll probably resonate a bit with this, Ads. This is from Brody Connolly, potentially. Fishing in Vic, I find I've always gone for 4 combos per species: whiting, snapper, tuna, trolling, etc. Those 4 combos need to match each other, but they don't need to match the other combos for the other species. So
big tick.
Even
Nailed
called
it.
himself out OCD per species targeted.
Oh, I'm all for it. Yep, you cannot have a rack of, say, 4 snapper combos all varying from each other. They must be all exactly the same. The only thing I'll allow is maybe a colour change on the line.
Oh, yeah.
But it's, yeah. No, I like it.
There you go. So thank you very much, everyone, for getting involved. It's one of my favourite parts throughout the week is just jumping in there and seeing the conversations that having. And feel free to message. I know we get a lot of messages as well, but do whatever you feel comfortable with. That's what we're all about at the Deep Drop. Now, Adam, I want to kick off tonight's show with something that we touched on last week. Now, we did get a few people message saying looking forward to next week because we mentioned that we might be bringing up this topic, and we're going there. We were as you heard there, we were talking about mixing and matching rods and reels and how loyal you are and so forth. And we threw it out there, but said, no, that's its own episode. That question was, what's more important, rods or reels? Now, I know, just while you're getting ready to sort of unleash here, Ads, there are so many layers to this. So I'm not just, you can't just answer this with one sentence. So
No.
I just want to throw to you, just tell us what you're feeling.
My gut feeling, the first thing I want to say is that a reel is more important than a rod. And it's something that I probably believed for a very long time.
Mm.
But through my experience of using various different brands, models, makes, actions, lengths, all of that throughout the course of my fishing journey, I'm finding more recently, I think the rod may be more important. But there's going to be some applications where you kind of need to have the best of both worlds. But then I also think there's applications where it doesn't really matter. And listen, that probably answers absolutely every single scenario. But
do you know what I love about that? That when I thought about this question and started answering in my own head, everything I said contradicted the last thing I just said. Yeah,
well, so where do I start? You guide me, because I have so many different ways in which I'm right.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to explain them, but I don't know where to start.
Well, I think not a bad starting point could be around, because and again, I suppose to make more sense of the question, what we're saying is, what do you need more to perform for performance? You know, what's more crucial when it comes to being able to do the job that you need it to do? Now, you could argue that both things need to be,
yeah, they need to be thereabouts.
But when I thought about this later, and I'll throw it to you, I was thinking about different fishing styles, but also, you know, different scenarios, applications. So, and I'll just put one out there on the table, and you can break it down a bit, because you'll make more sense of it and probably tell me I'm completely wrong. But when I'm thinking spinning for trout in a river or up an estuary spinning for bream, I feel like the rod's really important, because you're casting all day, your accuracy is key, and you need to be able to really put your lure or soft bait or whatever it is where it needs to go. And then secondary to that, when you get a bite or hook a fish, the rod is everything. It's it's a real. This is so cliched. It's an extension. It's an extension of your arm, but it is. But do you know what I'm saying? So I feel like in that one situation, I feel like I could probably get away with whatever reel to a degree. Like we're not being completely ridiculous here, but I could get away with using a $50 reel with the right line on it. I'd say $30 reel. Like I'm being serious here, but the rod has to be absolutely on point.
This is where I've landed over the journey. And I'll explain why. So ultimately, my final answer, spoiler alert, will be, I think the rod is more important than the reel. And it's only been recently I've done a little bit of a deep dive on something on rods that I never really gave a shit about. Because we would normally pick up a rod, we'd check out how long it is and its weight rating, and that would kind of like line weight rating, and that would tell us what we're using it for. So as a predominantly estuary fisherman, I'm anywhere from 6'6" to 7'6" in a 2 to 4 kilo range. If you wanted a rod to do all things estuary, that's about where you're looking. So I'm like, well, okay, I can find a million of those from $50 to $450. There'll be a 7-foot, 2 to 4 kilo rod in there in just about everything. But where fishing has taken us, in particular in the last 10 years, as technology has started to slow down, you can only keep making things better to a degree. So what fishing's doing is it's getting very specific. And we're finding all of these different ways to catch fish that we've been catching forever. And I think the most relevant way to look at it is in the cod fishery. We've seen the development of big lures becoming a factor. And the reality is, the old, say, 6 foot, 4 to 8, 5 to 10 kilo rods that we would cast a spinnerbait with all day, they're now not so relevant. Because when a lure is pushing 6 to 7 ounces per lure, now all of a sudden the rod is crucial. That's why we've seen 7'6" to 8 foot rods come into play. Because we have to pay attention to the weight rating on a rod. And I thought, okay, well, if that's relevant for cod fishing, which it's not just relevant, it's crucial.
Yeah.
Your efficiency casting a big bait swings so much more in your favor with the correct rod.
Yep.
I thought, okay, well, are we focusing way too much on a line rating? You and I have had a conversation on this podcast about how line ratings are practically irrelevant these days with the introduction of braid and how that part of the fisheries developed as far as thinner braids, heavier weights. It's all way too confusing now.
Yeah.
So again, back to an estuary setting, rather than looking for just a 2 to 4 kilo rod, I'm generally casting weights between, say, 1/20th and 1/12th of an ounce.
Yep.
Should I be not worrying about a line rating and looking for a rod that most efficiently casts a 1/16th and a 1/12th, maybe 1/20th? Because if I'm using a 2 to 4 kilo rod, it might be too heavy to efficiently cast a 1/20th of an ounce.
Yeah, no,
I can do it.
Yeah.
I can do it, but it's not efficient. If I was to drop the line rating to 1 to 3 kilo, maybe push it out to 7'6", softer tip, with a weight rating of 1/30th to 1/20th. Now all of a sudden, I can control that cast and I can control that weight a hell of a lot easier.
Yep.
And I thought, I've been looking at this all wrong. Rods are the most important. I can do everything I want to do, but am I doing it efficiently? Hence why we've also seen a really big trend towards long rods. And bait casters are where we're really seeing this.
Yeah.
Bait casters used to be solely 5'6" to 6 foot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now they're pushing 6.5 foot to 7 foot. And that aids in everything from more action on your lures, more efficient casting, easier hook sets. Because you've got so much more leverage on a longer rod, a smaller flick of the wrist is actually generating more power to drive a hook into a fish's mouth.
Yeah.
We're only starting to learn all this now in Australia.
Yep.
And it's incredibly exciting.
Absolutely.
And it's actually changed my perception of fishing rods. And I think they're more important than a reel.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for that. But I'm going to challenge you with a couple of things, and only because I feel like I need you to help me with this challenge, because completely contradictory to my initial statement on the estuary thing, and you really broke that down way more detailed than I could, which was awesome. Let's go offshore for a moment and bottom fishing, jigging, far north Queensland. We've got fish there that are just dogged fighters. They don't want to come off the bottom. They're heavy, and you could even bring it further down south, and when you're talking about kingfish. And I just wonder, and this is, I'll have a basic view of it. You'll have a more detailed view of it. I just wonder whether you could get away with and let's just, I suppose, let's use a short sort of jig stick, I suppose, to, very generic here, but can you get away with something that's just okay, providing the reel, be it overhead or spin, you've got, has the capability to lock up when needed and not fucking let you down? Because you just doing that sort of thing mid-fight, you look down and you're just relying so heavily on that reel. You're putting your sort of weight into the handle while you're trying to fight a fish. I'm wondering, and don't get me wrong, the rods play a big part. They really do. But I wonder in that situation, if you had I won't use the word subpar, but if you had just an okay reel, are you any chance of bringing some of those fish up off the bottom?
It's the perfect scenario that you've just laid out where the reel becomes more important. No, it is. And this is why this...
That's why I'm thinking. That's why I wanted to put it to you, because that's where my head's going.
And this is why this is such a complex question. So I think for a lighter application in fishing, the rod's everything. But as you start turning into a situation where the fish has a head start, so pulling a brim out of a snag, I don't necessarily think that brim has a head start. The rods are so good,
yep,
and the line's so sensitive, we can essentially turn a fish before it gets back in there.
Yep.
But as you progress through the scale up to game fishing or deep water fishing, you kind of start to lose that advantage. Get to, say, a vertical fishing situation, the rod is still incredibly important depending on
Definitely.
what you're doing. If you're jigging, then I think, again, we're looking at weight, not line class. It's solely weight. Is that rod capable of doing what I want to do with that jig?
Yep.
High speed and slow pitch jigging, two completely different things, two completely different rods. You'll see this really flimsy, what looks like flimsy, 6'3", PE 2 to 4 kilo, PE 2 to 4 line rated rod, but it has a weight rating of 2 to 400 gram jig.
Yeah.
That's not for speed jigging. The rod's too soft, but it can hold a 400 gram slow jig.
Yep.
Where it's all about flutter, not so much erratic action.
Yep.
But to your point, go and put a $50 8,000 plastic spooled reel on it. It probably won't even survive the 400 gram jig, let alone the fish that's going to eat off the bottom. So I think as you progress, and then it will far out. Now we're opening cans here. Like this is insane.
And I think the reference to like a $50 reel or rod before was probably more in that lighter end. You know, when you talk about comparisons, I think if you're talking offshore in any capacity, but you got to be a bit realistic and go, you know, again, I guess subpar might be the right sort of terminology because we know. Look, some of the entry level rods these days are actually great. And,
yeah, they are.
You know, you could get, and this is where I think my head's at. I think you can get away with it. I think you and I could go out, drop some baits or some jigs or whatever on some reef, pull up some nannies or, you know, coral trout potentially, if the rods are just okay.
Well, I will even take it a step further. Take it to game trolling, marlin, tuna.
Yes, I wanted to get to this next.
The reel, in my opinion now, becomes everything.
Yep.
Because I'd be fairly confident and...
Hang on.
Disclaimer.
Before you go on, because this is a whole other conversation. Where did you land with the say bottom fishing, rod or reel? Because I think you shied away from it.
No. Yeah, sorry, I've skipped a step. That bottom fishing, I think, falls in... It'll be my same answer for, say, popping, GT popping.
Yep.
The rod and reel are just as important as each other. You can't...
Okay.
You can't...
You're on the fence.
Sacrifice one. No, I think they're just as important.
Oh,
I don't think you can get away. Now go game trolling.
Okay, game trolling.
I think you can catch a marlin and have a good season on marlin with a $100 glass roller tip rod. Disclaimer, I've never caught a marlin, so I don't fucking know.
All right, flip that though, right? Flip that, and this is where I do agree with you completely, because and let's just talk about barrel tuna. We've had more than enough evidence of people doing it. Victoria, Tasmania, South Australia, New South Wales, regularly over the last couple of years. I don't think I've seen anything other than a gold reel. Now, what I mean by that, and the reason I bring that up is, could you knock over a barrel, and I don't want to be too specific, but with a Penn Squall or...
Yeah, no, you could.
Yeah.
You could.
It's not going to blow up?
No, I don't think it will. The difference is how many.
Yeah, true.
As in, are you going to get a season out of that type of reel if that's the type of fishing you do? Now, there's some reels that may not last one barrel tuna.
Yeah.
But take those gold reels that you're speaking of, whether it be a Penn International, whether it be a Shimano Tiagra. To me, that's almost... That's up there with the pinnacle of technology we see in reels. They're also the reels that haven't had an update in 10 years.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And there's a reason for it. They're perfect.
They don't need one.
They're perfect for what they need to do, because it's not so much about the fish, it's about managing your line class.
Yep. Yeah, good
because
one.
if you're spooling a 50 wide with 24 kilo, that drag is so finely tuned to 24 kilo mono, not braid, 24 kilo mono, that The point is that you can set your strike drag at a third of the breaking strain of the line, so 8 kilos for a 24 kilo outfit, which means you can push to sunset, so all the way to the end, push the button in, pass strike, go all the way to the end, and know that for 24 kilo line, you're putting maximum pressure on the fish, and you don't have to worry about busting your line. You can push more out of it. I'm not saying you can't, but those drag systems and those reels are so finely tuned, in my opinion, there's nowhere else to go. The gearing's perfect for what it needs to do. They probably could go and, cold forge these perfectly cut gears, all precision lined up, and the reels could be smoother. But you don't need that reel to be smoother. You just need to make sure it can hold on to that fish and it's not going to bust your line.
Yep.
That drags aren't going to heat up so that they push more drag on a long drawn-out fight. So that, I think, the reel becomes crucial, not the rod.
So that one, I think and this, by the way, this is just Adam and I talking. So listening at home or in your car or wherever while you're working, whatever you're doing, this is the perfect scenario for us just to lean on you guys. What do you think? Because this is, I think we've got some good arguments here for what we're saying, Ads. But again, this is open. Like, let us know what you think, because you might do this regularly. You might be a regular, let's say, GT fisher, and go, oh no, mate, the rod is everything.
Yeah, that's right.
And cool, let's hear it. I want to know about that. And don't get me wrong. I think to your point before, GT popping, for example, is probably one where you can't escape.
That's right.
With any downfall of either.
I don't think you can muck around. I don't think you can cheap out on either of them.
No. But
I think jigging's kind of the same. High torque, high drag. You're chucking very specific lures, which are typically heavy, whether it's a big popper or it's a jig. So I kind of think everything needs to be right.
Do you think this probably goes against everything that we have learnt through the retail trade? Do you think there are some things, or in fact there are some things where it doesn't matter? Like, either you can get away with using more or less anything for certain things. Like, so, and what I mean by that is, if someone came in, say you put your shop hat back on, Ads, you're back in the tackle store, someone comes in and goes, I need a snapper outfit, but should I be focused on getting a good reel or getting a good rod? Is it fair to say you could sort of go, not that you would, but mate, doesn't matter?
No, seriously. What do you value more, the rod or the reel? Because for snapper, I think that's what it comes down to. Unless you want something specific, like a bait runner style reel, I don't think it really matters.
I think it matters. Are there other ones like that? If you're listening, let us know. Is there situations where it just doesn't matter? And I don't mean that.
Well, I think overall, the first question you've got to ask yourself if you're buying a rod or a reel is, how often are you going to use it? Because we would get people come into the shop that are, say, going on a family holiday up to northern Queensland, and they're like, I'm going to get a charter, and I want to take my own gear, and I want to cast a few poppers around for a GT. Well, I'm not going to sell them a $2,000 outfit that they'll never use down here. Because that's the other thing. I mean, if you live there and GT popping is what you do, and you're going to be catching multiple fish throughout the course of a season. Yeah. But if you're going once and you might catch one, that outfit might catch you a few. But
if you're also going once, you don't want to be the one cast that hooks up and everything just shits itself either. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's got to be a balance.
But are you going on a hardcore fishing trip, or are you going on a family holiday where you're going to catch a charter for a morning sesh?
Jesus, you'd argue that if you're doing that,
there's no point doing that, and that's the correct answer.
just sleep in, have breakfast in bed, mate. Just relax.
Exactly. But that's why this topic is so unbelievably fascinating to me, because I can talk about all that technical stuff with you and why you should do that. But again, at the end of the day, I can catch a fish on a fucking hand line.
That's the thing.
So how?
Yes, you can.
So really, the question is, how complicated do you want to make it? And I think this is the kind of progression of fishing, which is, it's kind of There's no rule. There's no negotiation. It's anything. Just go and take fishing as far as you want to take it.
Absolutely.
If you want to get into brim fishing, all right, and you want to load up a kayak and come for a paddle with you and I, and we go up to Bem and we take a handful of punters, and you're like, well, what do you want to do? I can take some outrageously expensive outfit, and then I can fish next to someone who's got a $130 pre-made graphite combo that comes with braid on it and everything. In that situation, I think the biggest benefit I'm going to have over them is castability. That's it. But then it comes back to what we're saying at the very start of the podcast, because it's about weight rating. It's not line rating. It's about weight rating.
Yeah. I don't think this is a question that has a definitive answer, and I think that's why I was really excited to bring it up tonight.
Because, and like I said, up until fairly recently through my journey, I would have told you every day of the week the reel's the jam.
Yeah.
Because it's the sexy part of the combo.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit about a rod?
It's the bling. It's the bling. But, we'll round it out soon, but I wanted to throw this twist to you, put a spin on it this way. What do you get more satisfaction out of feeling a really nice feeling rod or a really nice feeling reel? So you know the feeling I'm talking about when you go, oh, geez, that feels nice, that rod, and then you grab a new reel and you go, oh, that feels sensational. What is it? Is there one that's better than the other for you?
Yeah, it's actually quite this is one I can answer, and I feel this answer I know it. I know it. Everything up until hooking a fish, it's all real.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
The second you hook a fish, you're like, oh, this rod's fucking sensational.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. It's like when you go in and you're looking at some new gear, you grab a rod, you get your mate to load it up.
Yeah.
Don't you? That's the first sort of thing you do.
You shake the tip, you load it up on the floor, pretend we know what we're actually looking for when we do that.
You've seen someone else do it.
We've all done it.
I'm doing it. And then you take it too far and you snap it.
Just get on the end of that, will you?
Grab the end. We were doing it today in the office. Like we had these new rods and we were checking them out. And it's the first thing you do is grab the end of that. And then you go, I don't really need you to load that up for me.
So a peek behind the curtain to all the punters out there listening.
Yeah.
In that situation where us as salesmen say, here, jump on the end of that and we'll load it up for you.
Yeah.
Every rod feels exactly the fucking same. It doesn't matter. So I may have just given away some trade secrets.
Yeah,
It all feels the same. You're not going to know what it feels like until you're casting a lure around with it or your bait. But just loading up in the shop, I can take a 2 to 4 kilo rod and you can drag me around the floor with it. As long as I make sure it's actually loading on its working curve, it's not going to break.
There was an 8-foot sort of light shore spinning rod today, and I grabbed it, the tip, so one of the blokes was holding it, and I loaded it up so far, and he's like, I said, that rod will never, ever in its fishing life be loaded up like that.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it, and you're sitting there going, it feels great.
How good is this?
It'll never have that experience in its entire fishing life, this rod. But we do it. Why do we do it?
Because it feels awesome, Luke. Because it feels awesome.
What are the things you do when you grab a reel? Like, there's the same sort of things. You grab the reel, you give it a couple of spins, twist the spool just to, I don't even know, lock up the drag for a bit.
Yeah. It's just to hear the click of the drag clicker, just to see how tinny it is, or if it's got a nice sound, because it matters. Yeah. And then you convince yourself with some of the really, like, especially higher end reels, you can grab the drag knob and you actually make the reel oscillate just by pushing the spool and pulling it up, not by spinning. That was a Scotty Harp special. Shout out Scotty Harps. He used to love that.
I did this, and this came into my head the other day, and I think I mentioned last week, I shot up to Sydney during the week and caught up with the boys at Pure Fishing, who, for brands like Penn and Abu Garcia, Berkeley and so forth. And we were looking at your reel that you were talking about the other day, beautiful couple of spin reels options. And I was grabbing it and I was thinking about this. I'm sitting there and I'm just sort of winding the handle for a bit, open the bail arm a couple of times. And I actually thought to myself, why the fuck am I doing this? Like, this is giving me nothing.
My all-time favourite, and this is another Scotty Harp special. Yeah. Grab a bait caster flick the handle and just kick it into freeze fall and just watch the spool spin and just go, look at that. Spins for days. And then you could really fuck with the punter because you just back the cast control off to nothing. Flick the handle, click it into freeze fall, and it will spin forever. And you're like, see, this is how good this is.
This is how good this is. The bearings, I mean, Jesus. The one with my go-to with baitcasters for no reason at all is just hold it, grab my hand around the handle, and then just lock the drag as tight as I can and see how far I can go, and then go, what did I do that for? And then just release it again.
Do you know what I can't help but do with a spin with a baitcaster? Just click it into freeze fall and then use the handle to disengage it and just do it over and over again. So I'll be playing with the bait and you just hear click, 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 click.
You know, all these toy manufacturers think they got onto a trend, but they were fucking so far behind. Yeah. Baitcasters are the ultimate fidget spinner.
Well, they're the OG fidget spinner.
They're the OG fidget spinner.
In and out of freeze fall the whole time.
And the noise would drive anyone standing next to you insane, but it just feels right.
Yep.
Oh my God.
I do love the crank the drag up to max. Just put your thumb on the spool and try and turn the handle. And you're like,
I did that the other day. I did it the other day. And I think I said last week, I don't even think I own. I might have one or two baitcasts, but so I don't use them. So I'm sort of grabbing the. And the other thing I did, and again, it must look ridiculous. I sort of grabbed the reel and just did those ones where you just sort of flick it forward as if you're casting. There's not even a rod attached. There's not even a rod on the reel. I'm just playing air. I'm doing air fishing. I'm doing air casting. Fucking nailed that cast.
That's awesome.
Straight under the mangroves.
See that skip?
I don't know why we do these things, but I challenge anyone out there listening that if they've got a reel lying around, you know, at some point through it, not when you're thinking about it after this conversation, but at some point you will do those sorts of things. You'll grab the reel, you'll do a little. They are great fidget sort of toys, aren't they? Really,
they are. And listen, I'm going to set a challenge for all of our listeners out there, because another Scotty Harp special from back in the shop days, and this is my all-time favourite. I want everybody to walk into their local tackle shop, and I want you to ask whoever's working there if you can have a look at one of these big gold game reels. So Penn International or a Tiagra. I want you to put the ratchet on, and I just want you to turn the handle aggressively twice. They're so fucking loud. And Scotty used to always say, this is how you know how many real fishermen are in the shop. Because once you set that drag off, watch how many heads snap around. All those people that snap around and look, legit fishos.
Oh, yeah.
All the ones that didn't hear it, posers.
It's so good. Do it. I want everyone to do it. I want someone to... Can someone please film it? So go in with a mate or set your phone up on somewhere and do it, and just try and see in the shot if you can see any heads swivel. If heads turn, just give them a wink.
Yep.
Just give them a nod, a little wink. They get it.
And either Tiagra or Inters, they're the only two. They've got the best.
They've got the
best
loudest.
clickers. Yep, best clickers in the business. Just flick it on and just give it like two just good
and good, like solid cranks of the handle.
Don't fuck around. Like
not
and
a
just
slow
watch everyone go fish on and just turn around.
Some people might drop what's in their hands. They'll
just start clearing decks.
Yeah, someone might grab a gaff. Like someone might it's just game on. Like it's just this built-in thing into our system. It's incredible.
Yep. So please film it and send it via Instagram to the Deep Drop.
Please,
we will repost. They'll end up in our stories. I think
good.
This is how you test who the real fishermen are in any given tackle shop. Just crank a Tiagra and into drag.
So I go back and let's talk about in the tackle shop. What's more important, rods or reels? Definitely reels.
Definitely reels.
Oh, fantastic! All right, that's it. We got to go. This is too much fun. I got some Tiagras to crank the ratchet on and see who turns around. Adam, thank you very much, and listeners, thank you. And again, if you're new, welcome. I hope you embrace the madness that is the Deep Drop. Everyone out there who's been here before and I've got to say, I just want to take a moment because we've had some messages over the last couple of weeks. Seriously, And they mean so much to us because we kicked off this podcast 60-odd episodes ago absolutely for a bit of fun, for something to do because we just wanted to, a bit of a
passion
creative
project
release
for
or
you
something
and I.
like that,
Yep.
you might call it. And it's been fun from day one. I still, like you said off the top of the show, this is something I look forward to every week. But some of the messages we're getting, and have had from early on too, by the way, but there's new people getting on now, and they're just listening the way we want people to listen. We want it to be relatable. We want to have fun. People are understanding that we're as good at taking the piss out of each other and ourselves as talking about fishing, and this is what it's about, mate. We are in such a great industry, and what we are involved in is such a great hobby and pastime for so many people around Australia, and we just love the feedback. So thank you guys so much. We're having a ball.
Yep. Instagram's where you need to go to get involved in the conversation. We will keep asking questions and we'll keep seeking answers. We'll keep sending out
They won't get any more intelligent. They'll still
silly
be
little
dumb.
challenges like setting off drags in tackle shops. Get involved. We're having a ball. We love to hear the feedback, and we look forward to producing many more episodes. I think it's going to be, we're going to have some fun with this bad boy.
Absolutely. Spotify is a place you can follow. Share it with your friends. Here's your challenge. I know Adam's already given you a challenge. Copy the link from the Spotify playlist. Send it to as many people as you know. See what happens. We'd love it. I mean, we would very much appreciate it. And if they ask, what the hell is this rubbish? Just say, oh, sorry, wrong number.
Wrong person.
We'll see you again soon. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Bye.